Hey everybody, Jason here again with GD&T Basics and the video question line. Today's topic is considering form in tolerance stack-up analyses. So the question that was submitted is, I'm analyzing the attached drawing and have two quick questions about datum feature A's flatness tolerance. Should I include its flatness in my stack-up calculation for the minimum-maximum gap between the two surfaces? And if yes, how do I properly calculate its effect? So let's take a look at the submitted question here. We see part A on the left here, and we are going to put part A back to back with itself and see that we have a stack up analysis to do. So we have part 1 and part 2. It's the same part in both scenarios, we just mirrored it, and we can see that there's a certain gap in a min and max sort of way that we could calculate using the tolerances on our drawing. So let's just start with one part and we'll go from there. We see that if we have just one part and we take a look at the tolerance analysis for this one feature, we can see that we've established datum A as this bottom surface here through this call out right here. This establishes this feature as datum feature A. Now we derive datum A from datum feature A. So datum A is a perfectly flat plane. Datum feature A is the imperfect surface we can touch. So the three high points from datum feature A will give us datum A. So this surface might look something like this, but it's going to derive datum A. And datum A is very critical because we notice that we're controlling the location, orientation, and form of this surface right here with respect to datum A, because we have a profile applied to that surface referencing datum A as the sole and primary datum. So that means we have a tolerance zone located from datum A by 8 millimeters. So we have a true profile that is parallel and located by 8 millimeters from datum A. So we center our zone at this location, and the width of that zone is going to be this value right here, 0.2 millimeters. So we know that this surface has to be inside of this zone, and that is because we have to control the form as well as the orientation and the location vertically up and down. So all three of those things are being accomplished by this one call out here. So if we want to assess the sort of stack up that might happen by putting two of these parts together, well, we'd want to consider the worst case deviation in the position. So we could go from 8 millimeters up 0.1, and we could go from 8 millimeters down 0.1. So we could see that we would have a plus or minus 0.1 for the location of this surface with respect to the location of this surface. Now, if we put those back to back, we could also assess, again, the stack up between these two surfaces since they're sharing the same origin. This surface down here would be the same part, just mirrored down. It can go down 0.1 and this one can go up 0.1. So you're saying you'd have a 16 millimeter plus or minus in the max and min of up 0.1, down 0.1. That's a total of 0.2. So this would be the equivalent of 16 millimeters plus or minus 0.2. However, the question is, should I include this tolerance in the tolerance analysis that I just did? So what we didn't incorporate was this 0.1 in this math of getting to 16 millimeters plus or minus 0.2. Nowhere did we include this 0.1, which is interesting because that 0.1 is telling us how flat this surface can be. This surface has to be able to fit between two parallel planes spaced apart by 0.1. That's the flatness requirement. So if our first part looks like this, we could see that we are controlling the flatness of this. We're making sure all of the elements of that surface fit inside of a zone of 0.1. And we can also derive datum A from this surface. So datum A is this. And if we consider this, we can also see that if we have the part down here, also checked to be flat to 0.1, we're still getting the same 16 millimeters plus or minus 0.2. Because we can see we established our 0 here and our 0 here for both of these surfaces. And if the zone is 0.2 in width, we can go up 0.1 and down 0.1 for each surface, separating these two surfaces by plus or minus 0.2 total. Now, in this scenario, if we're assuming the high points of both of our surfaces touch each other, that sets the origin or the datums directly on top of each other. And for most scenarios, this is okay. And for most scenarios, it's okay to ignore the flatness callout in our tolerance calculation between this surface and this surface. However, there should be a level of common sense that has to apply during this situation. We can see that if these surfaces are relatively large, or one surface is relatively large with respect to the other surface, and they're able to sort of sit inside of each other regardless of the flatness, there's something we need to consider, and that's the amount of flatness we're allowing. So let's take a look at this part here. Again, we're going to establish datum A from this feature off of its 3 high points. And we're also going to verify that this surface can fit between 2 parallel planes spaced apart 0.1. That never goes away. And we're going to establish this level of control of this surface from datum A. And we can do the same thing for this part down here. We would establish datum A off of the high points, and we would establish control from datum A for this surface. Again, establishing the same zone that we've talked about, that zone being width of 0.2. But something interesting happens when we get to the real world when we set these two parts together. They don't actually mate up with each other's high points. We can see here that in the real world, this allows room for the parts to kind of mix together. So we're not establishing the same origin between these two surfaces. They can actually settle into each other a little bit. And there's various geometries and various form errors that allow these two surfaces to settle into each other. And if they can settle in, let's say we have a really large surface on the bottom one, controlled by a large flatness, and a smaller piece that sits inside of that large surface, well, we can see that this is much smaller and will actually sit below the established datum A. It would sit somewhere down in here. And so various reasons will allow us to add the flatness to our tolerance calculation. In this scenario, it's only going to add to the min value. It's only going to reduce that distance because the geometry is here. We settled in, they can get closer, right? They can get closer by exactly this amount and no more than that. So you would add to the min side. So no longer would it be 16 plus or minus 0.2. It'd be 16 plus 0.2 minus 0.2 plus our flatness value of 0.1. So we would have an equivalent of minus 0.3 because it could get 0.1 closer to each other by settling into each other. So again, depending on the geometries, we might want to consider worst case scenarios. Again, the majority of the time, the flatnesses can be ignored or not considered because the odds of them actually settling into each other and using up all of that 0.1 flatness air, pretty slim to none. Some designers during their tolerance analysis will put a weighted grade to this 0.1, so they won't utilize all of the 0.1. They'll say the odds of, the profiles perfectly fitting in where I use up all of that 0.1 is pretty slim. So maybe I'll just use in my tolerance analysis 10% or 25% or 40% of that potential flatness interaction. Again, it's up to you. There's no hard rules here as far as designers. If you want to ignore it, you're not alone. If you want to fully incorporate it to cover your bases entirely in your tolerance analysis, that's totally fine as well. Or something in the middle is also okay. So hopefully that adds some clarity at the very least to your question as to should you incorporate it, and if you do have to incorporate, what should you do? So thanks for submitting your question and have a great day.
Our goal is to be your best source for GD&T information online. It's important to us that everyone involved in engineering and manufacturing have the chance to learn and better understand GD&T on your prints. We have many free resources to help you get started on your learning journey. Subscribe to our GD&T community using the link in the description below or visit our website. Test your knowledge with our GD&T and print reading quizzes. Download helpful charts and access articles